Great. Cool. Go ahead. Sorry.
So, a few points. So, the first thing that I think is important is to recognize the structure of how school systems are usually set up, because that gives you the idea of how to get points of contact. So, you have your teachers, and then you have your middle management, and then upper management or administration. So, the middle management is usually who you reach out to first. Those are going to be what are called department heads. Sometimes they're called curriculum facilitators, things like that. So those are the bosses that oversee all of the teachers within the department. So I think this program probably makes the most sense if we use my school as an example. I'm part of the wellness department. And then my school is a little bit smaller, so we only have two health teachers within the wellness department. So for you, instead of reaching out to the two health teachers, you would just have to reach out to the one department head.
Okay.
And they can push that information to all of the teachers. Because like I said, while we're a small school, when I was at Beverly High School, there's 10 wellness teachers.
Okay.
So that's a bigger reach, and it's less work for you because instead of now reaching out to 10 teachers, you're still only reaching out to one administrator that pushes that information out. So that's like the first key aspect. I definitely would see this as useful to go into a wellness department because, like you were talking about with motivations, it just aligns so easily to the curriculum. And that's how I would pitch it. Hey, if you're looking for community engagement opportunities, like this aligns to the things that you teach when it comes to health and wellness, saving lives, cardiac awareness, those types of things. So that's kind of where I would go is aiming for wellness department heads to push it out as a community engagement project. Probably throwing in like some fancy buzzwords like low lift community engagement.
Yeah.
Um, as far as like how I set it up in my classroom, I did an actual assignment for it. So, within my course, like most of my assignments are worth 10 points. And then I had done this initially as an assignment where, hey, I need everybody to go out and watch Greg's video, become a verifier. That's 5 points. And then everybody needs to get, I forget if I did 3 or 5 AEDs because we had none.
Yeah.
Now in our tri-town, we have like over 200. So they did a lot of work. So I think I had said three, let's say 3 AEDs. So I was like, all right, then you got to go and you got to tag 3 AEDs. So, there was like a 2-part assignment there. Then for the rest of the semester, I made it extra credit. Hey, we're coming up on the final project. I can give up to 5 points extra credit if you tag, it'll be 1 AED per point or 1 point per AED. That was really effective. So I think up till now, year to date, we've tagged like just over 350. So students
Congrats
did
to
pretty
you.
good.
Congrats to you and your students. That's awesome.
Yeah, and the hard part for them is like with my EMT class, it was a little bit easier because it's seniors, they have their driver's license, but my health classes is sophomores. So
Yeah.
only like maybe 1 out of 20 have their license. So for them, it was just, oh, I'm going out this weekend to a track event. I know I'm going to be at a high school. High schools have them. I'm going to tag it there. Oh, I'm going to this field trip and we're going to the museum. Tag it there. And so I would always put those reminders out. So, hey, it's extra credit. I also doubled it as community service. So I think I said for every 3 AEDs they tag, they get 1 hour of community service. And our school has a requirement that for every year, grades 9 through 12, you have to have a minimum of 10 hours of community service. So like I had a few students tag over 15 and I had 2 or 3 students tag over 30.
Yeah. I mean, the students that showed up at our event, I mean, they were all in
Yeah.
the 15 plus range at least.
Yeah, Brooke, Enzo, and Tori. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all great. So like they're the exemplar, and they did exactly. So Brooke was an interesting case because Brooke had a lot of medical problems this
Yeah.
year. I
Yeah.
didn't see
She
that in her.
voiced that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so every time she was at a hospital or at an appointment outpatient, she would tag them there. Tori is a big athletic girl. So every time she would go to a stadium or a field and she saw one that wasn't tagged, she would tag it. Enzo, he's a freshman, so he just kind of, as he was out and about, would do it. So there's a lot of different avenues that you can approach this from. What I would probably do is, I'm sure you already do this, is look at the map and see, like, as far as population density goes, what are some high density areas? Like, let's just say Lowell. Like, Lowell Public Schools, if there's not a lot tagged there, that's the first place that I would be going to for schools because you're going to have a very large population of students. and you're going to have a very large population of probably AEDs within the town of Lowell, city of Lowell. Doing that with the Boston suburbs, and then some of those bigger kind of urban areas.
Gotcha. No, that's great. And I guess to piggyback off your point about like having the younger kids, like did you, and I'm just thinking more so forward like of other teachers, did they have, reservations of like I don't want to have my freshmen and sophomores that can't drive to make this an assignment? Were there any like did you find that those students had problems doing it, or with those reminders was it fine?
So I knew that because there was none tagged in the Tri-Town, actually pretty much within the whole North Shore, there was like not much. That there was a plethora of opportunities, even like just going out to Target or to Shaw's, to Whole Foods, like those places always have them. So that was another thing. If I knew there was an AED there, I told them where they can go. I was like, go tag them. I'll tell you where they are. Just next time you're out at Target, go tag it. So I personally didn't have any students come up to me and be like, hey, I couldn't meet this, because I only told them like, hey, so for my EMT class, which was seniors, that was the graded aspect. That's what I was talking about. For the other
Gotcha.
classes, the underclassmen, I should have clarified that.
Yeah.
For the underclassmen, it was exclusively extra credit and community service based. So yeah, the upperclassmen, but I did have some upperclassmen who didn't have cars, right? But I had told them like, now what can we do? We brainstormed. So for one whole class period, we brainstormed where are places that might have AEDs. So we jumped on the internet. We used ChatGPT. What are places that commonly have AEDs? All right. So gyms, grocery stores, those types of things, local parks. All right. Now we have gyms. So then we like added a ton of spaces. What are local gyms? And we listed all of the gyms. Okay, who usually goes here? And then we had a student, all right, can you tag these ones? So we kind of broke it down like logistically. It wasn't just, hey, go check out your gyms. We made a list and shared that with them so that they could keep track of that. As we progressed, we started implementing kind of like I asked Greg for letters of like I think it was like a certificate of appreciation. And like that was just something super simple. I think it took Greg probably about 5 minutes to type up. And then I just went and bought like a 10 pack of cheap picture frames. And then I printed out on some nice cardstock paper. And once they hit 10 or 15, I forget. Oh yeah. So at 10, they got a t-shirt. At 15, they got the letter of appreciation from me and Greg, which is just something to put on a resume. So my students are very academically driven in that aspect. So something like that is really good. If you have more of a lower achieving, kind of low income district, you might need to adjust that practice. That might be something that like, I wish that I had known that there was going to be cash prizes at the end, because I think even for my students, that would have been a driver.
Yeah.
So if something like that happens again, which I don't know if it's going to, making that known, like, hey, we're going to be releasing a leadership board, and if you're in the top 5, like there's the potential for a prize. You don't have to be specific, but that might incentivize some students to get out there. Because I had actually more than one student who once like Tori was like, oh yeah, I think she got like $500. Like, oh, I got $500. A bunch of kids were like, oh, like I would have done so much more. It's like, well, you're kind of a piece of crap for not doing more just on your own.
It's the purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all of those things, like with kids, you always got to think of incentives. And depending on the district, high achieving, it's easier. Lower achieving, you got to be a little bit more outside the box. But you'd be surprised what kids will do for a t-shirt.
Yeah, no, seriously, and I guess that was really what I wanted to get out of you too, is because like, you said your students are academically driven, and so like that definitely lends to your advantage because they're willing to get the volunteer hours, they want the resume stuff, they want to get into a good college, etc. But like you said, the more maybe the low income and less resourced populations, communities, they might not be more inclined or motivated in that regard. So. Yeah. I don't know if we'll do the cash prize thing because the goal for us here is now to like how do we make this more of a just a program that is part of the school that they can do every year, because like I mean if we have to fork over cash every year, that we might go broke in time, especially if we start to implement in the schools. But no, that's good to hear, because my main thing was like you said already, the freshmen and sophomores, how do we get them out and about, because that was the problem we ran into with even college students who are on campus, because a lot of them, they come from far away. They don't necessarily have cars. And so it becomes more of a walking problem of like, do they want to go out and about? And so how do we get them to go out and about and actually do this and map these AEDs? And so for us moving forward with the colleges, what I start envisioning is college campuses are obviously much larger than high schools and probably have a lot more AEDs. You know, we have dorms, CAFs,
Yep.
lecture halls, et cetera, that I was going to do like mapping your campus campaigns where just every school year. I mean, it'd probably only be 1 or 2 school years, given that there's probably, a finite amount, to go map your campus, and find as many AEDs as possible and see if we can kind of do that way and spread that way. But high schools are different because they kind of operate more within the community, within the town.
Yeah.
Uh, cool. That's great. What else did I have to ask you? Because you guys freaking killed it. So, because right now, what we're trying to do is start, since UMass is in Worcester, is start with a couple high schools. I went to St. John's in Shrewsbury. I don't know if you're familiar with that high school. And I built a good reputation there. I was actually talking with the dean of students the other day about just speaking with the students in general about the school and how I enjoyed it. Because right now, I got a little bit of a tangent. They're having trouble retaining students for athletic programs because they all want to go prep schools and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I stayed there 4 years, played basketball. And played hoops in college. And so he wants me to come talk about how St. John's is still somewhere that you can go to play college basketball or any sport for that matter. But regardless, what I want to do is at St. John's, implement this program because they also have a school doctor now and he's an emergency physician. And so I want to
Wow.
get him on board. And also, if you're up for it, I would love to bring you too, because if you can speak with, because the way you articulated that, I think would be super helpful, especially having done it with your students and seeing like a legitimate person who actually implemented it into their school with their students. It would just give us some credibility moving into their program.
Yeah. 100%.
Because that would be super useful. And then what else did I want to chat with you about too? I don't want to keep you too long because I'm sure you're
No, no.
exhausted. Do you have any other thoughts before I'm blanking right now?
Yeah, so another thing that I did, so I think I had tagged like over 50 or something like that. A big thing that I did was I reached out to the individual towns. So I went on like town websites and usually it's like Parks and Recs directors.
Sure.
So Beverly, where I live, actually was what I would say is an exemplar. So the Parks and Recs director, Bruce Doig, has a spreadsheet of every publicly available AED in the town of Beverly that's at every park, and it has the exact location. So he just sent me that spreadsheet, and I just went around and tagged them, and then whichever ones I didn't do, I just gave to the kids who didn't have any. So like that is a huge resource. So Beverly had that. The Ipswich fire chief had one. And then I think there was one other, maybe Hamilton. Hamilton might have had one. But like towns have these things because they need to maintain them. So they have spreadsheets. So that's a little bit bigger of a lift. It's not so much community engagement, but that's an easy way, that if you get into the schools and you have that roster, you can actually give that to the teachers or to the students and say, hey, I'm going to get you started. Here's 20 that are in your town. Go find them and tag them.
Yeah.
That's an easy kickstart. And then they're going to see, oh, this is actually super easy and kind of becomes a challenge. And then they kickstart themselves.
Yeah. And I think also too, to that point, like, it could be like a school and a PR thing, like, not to say that's what it's about, but, if you have your students out and about in the community, especially St. John's, where it's a private Catholic school, where they're not just getting public school students, like their motivation is to try and not poach, but get students to enroll in their school. So if they have something like that ongoing that, their whole thing is like boasting their academics and getting their kids into good schools, it's just another way for them to say, hey, like, if you come here, there's ways to get your kids involved in the community, which also looks good for their resume for colleges, which is a huge thing for parents. I know it was a big thing for my parents, that academics and athletics, so I could get into a good school. So, that's huge. And so, like, how do you find those contacts for Parks and Recs? Is that just public information?
Yeah, every single town in Massachusetts has a town website. So like Beverly, Mass is beverly.ma.
Okay.
And so you just go, and then every town will have a directory on their website. And so just look for like a parks director or a community, or like the easiest way, because you never know who's going to manage it. Maybe just look for the town clerk
Mm-hmm.
or town manager and explain like, hey, I'm looking for somebody who might have a roster of all of the publicly available AEDs, and they'll be able to point you to it. Like, this is something that's well kept. Actually, I don't know if Greg ever told you this. The town of Middleton actually came over who was it? I think it might have been their town clerk. He came over and looked at the work that we were doing with the app, and they have their own kind of system. I forget what it's called. Mm, but it's what like 911 uses. But it has all these different layers. So like layer one is just the general map, Google Maps. Layer two is all of the water lines. Layer three is all of the gas lines. Layer four, and they just keep stacking the layers. And they want to add a layer with the AED locations. So like there's a lot of like additional moving parts to this. But yeah, to answer your question, because I'm going off a tangent now, I'd probably look at park directors, fire chiefs, and then if not, town clerks. And you could just send them all an email on that.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I have a buddy of mine who he speaks at a fire convention every year. Interestingly enough, it's not really too much about anything EMS related. He was paralyzed in a hockey incident, but it's more so speaking to the role that you guys play in getting to people first on the scene. And I think when he was there, the EMT stabilized him and put him into the ambulance to bring him to the hospital. So it's more so along those regards. But he speaks at a fire convention every year, and so I went to go watch him speak. I think he's going to one this week, so I think he would be a good person because the person that runs he's the he's like the regional director of like this firefighter association. So I might try and have him connect me with him. He might be able to put me in contact with almost every fire chief in the state of Massachusetts, which would be incredible for this application. I think it's like the PM.
Yeah, another person, if you're looking for like those types of individuals, if you want to write this down,
Yeah.
Dr. Christopher Norris, he's a PhD in, I think it's public safety, but he's actually one of the directors of the Massachusetts Fire Chiefs Association. Actually, he's the vice president. He's the vice president.
Okay.
I'm looking at LinkedIn now. I will email this to you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because when I was building up kind of like the clout within our community, I got all three of my town fire chiefs to write about how this program has the potential to save lives. I got the owners of three different ambulance companies, Sam Clark, who's the paramedic EMT instructor, and then Christopher Norris, but he's probably the biggest wig in the state because he's the vice president of the Firefighter Association and a PhD in public safety. So if you get a statement from him, like that could go a long way.
Oh wow. Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. And you've contacted him, you've been in reach with him, or
we shared like 2 or 3 emails back and forth. And he just gave like the overall, like, yeah, this type of technology is the future of EMS and cardiac care.
Gotcha. Awesome. No, I'm glad he's receptive. Yeah, that'd be great. I'm just glad because like sometimes I just want to know if he was reachable and more so because that's one of those things. Sometimes these people they're closed off as they should be. Everyone and their mother's probably trying to get in contact with them. So I've had problems trying to contact people, and not to say that they ignored me, but they probably get a million emails and they can only read so many every day, especially from a kid like myself. Who's still trying to make this thing happen and possible. But no, that's awesome. Like these are things that I need to know, like, and moving forward because, these are resources that I'm not always fully aware of. Obviously like it's one thing to care and want to push this thing forward, but it does take a village and it does take the right resources and the right people involved.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So I just forwarded you the I don't even know what this is, email conversation between me and him from the Association of Fire Chiefs. That's coming from my school email, so just a heads up. I just sent you one from my regular email and then one from my Masco email.
Mm-hmm. And the one thing I actually wanted to ask you, and I don't know if you had thought about this or had any, from doing it, any insight for it, is how do you think there'd be a easy way to get this like onboarded into schools? Like obviously you kind of took it upon yourself and you implemented it on your own. Like from doing it, do you think there would have been an easier way to like, hey, introduce it itself? And then, cause like right now it's the summertime. If I can get a hold of administration, like this could be something that we discuss in the next 8 to 10 weeks before the actual academic year starts in the fall. Which would be cool to introduce immediately. Yeah. I don't know if you thought about that or, oh shit, I should have done this instead.
Yeah, I feel like there were some things that I overplanned. Like I was planning on having like monthly meetings, like after school to track progress and game plan. And
Mhm.
after the first month, they made so much progress. I kind of dumped that. I think that I wouldn't change too much of what I did. Um, it's good now because now the app, I don't know if you've seen the update, it actually shows how many, because before it was just basically like a kid said they did this, so I have to take their word for it.
Right.
Unfortunately, I have responsible kids who like usually tell the truth. But it's actually a little bit easier now because what I did was on our learning management system, Blackboard. I don't know what you use at
Yeah,
UMass, if it's
it's
Blackboard or
Blackboard, it's
Canva
Moodle,
or
all this,
yeah.
all the different stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I like created an assignment, and every time they did one, they had to take a screenshot and upload it, and do a Google form to keep track of all that. Now they just, I can ask them, hey, let me see your app, and it shows. So I think it's pretty streamlined. If any teachers want to talk about specific like process, the actual process was really like get everybody to do Greg's course, make sure everybody gets verifier status, and then go out and just start tagging.
Yeah.
Actually, between that, like I said, I had a conversation with them about like making a list of where they might find some. Um, but like I said, there are some places that every single organization will have one. Like every single Stop and Shop that I've been to has an AED. Every single Whole Foods, every single Target, every single Home Depot, every single Lowe's.
Hmm.
Everyone in the state should be tagged because every single one in the country has one. So that's like what we call like the low hanging fruit.
Right.
Um, then you start going out to the random places and kind of being a little bit more nuanced.
Yeah. Do you think that it helped having like a campaign like we did just so that like they knew there was a start and an end? Like if you just kind of made this like, oh, throughout the year do this, and then by the end they were just kind of all like rushing to complete this deadline, it might have not all happened all at once or
No, I think that having the campaign was cool. I'd say 90% of my students didn't even know that there was like the actual campaign going
sure.
on. Like a few of them definitely did. If you wanted to do something like that, like I said, the leadership board is really cool. I don't think teachers will do that like independently. So if the organization can show like, hey, these are the leaders for this month, there doesn't have to be a prize associated just to see people's name on that board. Like I had students who only tagged like less than 5 and they were like, oh, my name was in the email. That was cool for them. So like again, kids are super easily amused. So them seeing their name in an email goes a long way.
Yeah.
Um, that that's an easy one. I think I forget what the actual question was.
Yeah, I was just wondering if more so like did you have like a timeline for them that made it so
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, like a deadline?
No. The deadline for us was the end of the campaign. But I like Tori is still tagging them. Brooke is still tagging them. So it was fun because they were like, oh, we're going to keep going. So I think that's where the teachers come in and kind of build their own timeline, especially if they're using this as like extra credit or an assignment, because then you have a due date and it kind of pushes those kids and kind of also incentivize them because what I did learn through this is you're going to have those few students who are going to absolutely crush it and go tag every single one available. And then you're going to have kids who are going to wait and all of those available AEDs are going to get tagged. So, if there was something that I could change, it's probably try to look at that a little bit deeper so that there wasn't as much disparity. At the end of the day, if they get tagged, they get tagged. But I think there are some kids who, once they hit kind of a roadblock and weren't able to find a lot more, they got so deterred that they just gave up.
Yeah.
Or how
What
to
about
approach
the
that.
like the idea of, because obviously Post Point right now they don't have I don't know if Greg's told you they're trying to work on continuous verification with the ADs. And I
Right.
wonder if do you think it'd be worthwhile to have students maybe get partial credit or even full credit for just re-verifying an AED that goes gray versus one that's orange? Like just so that the incentive's still there of like if all of them become mapped, like can they be
Yeah.
still a part of the project if they waited too long? That disparity point you just made.
My only concern about that is the integrity of the program itself, is you are going to have kids who are going to be sitting in their bed at home, just looking at the grays, clicking re-verify.
Right.
You
Because that
don't
is, yeah,
actually, so that's why I didn't let anybody, like if it's already gray,
great point.
you can't do anything with that.
Yeah.
I'll go out and physically verify. Like there was like a few students like Tori I would have been okay with, but the majority of students I know, they're like going to be like, oh, I'm at a B plus. I really want to get to that A minus. I just need a few extra credit points, verify, verify, verify.
Right.
So with that,
That's a great point. Yeah, I think you're right. That unless there's a way to somehow show that they did it from their home versus like going out and doing it,
yeah,
like whether they have to take a picture of them actually
right.
re-verifying that AED, then that'd be one thing. But yeah, I think the integrity issue, I think as a high school kid, I probably would do the same. So,
Yeah, same.
um, okay. No, this is all great. What else? I want to make sure I get everything while you're on the phone here. I know we can always have another call follow up at some point if we need to do this again, but because
Yeah,
I'm trying
and
to get
you
this.
you have my phone number?
I don't think so.
Take my phone number, dude. Text me like literally whenever. I do so much, you will never be a bother.
Awesome. No, I appreciate this. What do you got for me?
978
Yep.
578
Yep.
8326.
326. Awesome. I'm gonna text you my name now. Um, yeah, because dude, you're such an awesome resource, especially because you're like you're boots on the ground too. So you know what this is about. You know the impact. So having someone like you who's also done it with the high school, what we're trying to do is like this is so massive to have you as a resource.
Yeah.
And what I want to do because like I I chatted with the dean of students this past Friday, and we were talking about something separate, so I didn't want to interject with my own thought. But now that we spoke, um, and I have all this information and how to maybe implement it, I want to talk to him like this week some point and be like, hey, we'll love to chat with whoever would be in charge of this. Whether I don't know if the St. John's has a wellness department per se, but I know they have health teachers, and so whatever they call it, I want to talk with them, and especially I know all the teachers in the school. I think they'd at least be receptive to a conversation with me. And if they allow it, I would love to include you on that because again, your
Yeah.
experience and how you articulate everything and the credibility behind what you've done and the success you've had, I think would help us big time. Because I want to start this conversation now because if we can, I hate to do it 2 weeks before and all of a sudden a roadblock hits. So if we can have the roadblocks hit early and we can get over them, then we can actually make this happen. And I know a couple of students I'm working with now, they're really swamped and, that's going to be me in 2 years. So I love to like actually get an idea of what this would look like so that, when the time comes and I am a little bit busy, it's more about managing, queries and requests and how to fix things as opposed to trying to like implement, which will take a lot more of my time. So if I can get ahead of this before things get crazy for me, it'd just be better for everyone involved. Um,
Right.
and if you don't mind, do you mind if I share this recording with Greg? He's going to love to hear all this.
It's fun.
Awesome. But yeah, that's it from my end. Do you have anything else that you thought of? Yeah, I
No,
mean,
yeah,
now
like
we
I
can
said,
text back and forth. So
if we're trying to make the biggest impact, I would definitely take like an hour. It probably wouldn't even take that long. Open up the app and just highlight the towns, the cities that are the AED deserts, starting with like those bigger, more densely populated areas.
mhm.
Because even if it's a low achieving district academically, just the fact that there's going to be so many out there, it's going to make it easier for them. Like it would be really tough if you have a low academically achieving district in a scarcely AED populous area. Like if
Mhm.
there's not a lot and they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. But if you have a ton of AEDs that are just untagged and there's a decent bit of kids, like they're just going to do it. It'll
Right.
be
Yeah. And you're always going to, no matter, I think, what type of, whether it's low income, high income, low resource, high resource, you're always going to have a subset of kids that are highly motivated that are going to go out
yeah,
there and I think going to do it if the opportunity, presents itself. And I think sometimes the most motivated kids come from those areas because they're so
they
motivated
want
to
to get
get out
out.
of their situation. Right. So, I think regardless, I think, and also the high income kids, they're motivated because they know what it takes to get to the point of, where their parents are at. So, I think there's low hanging fruit in anywhere we go, but you're right. I think having those two things, high populated AEDs with a big city would be the best places to attack first.
Right.
And so I wonder if AI can even do this for me if it has access to pulse points software, be like, hey, what,
Yeah.
if it's possible, I can do it
Yeah,
now,
it might.
but it might save me some time, but if not, that also wouldn't take too much time just going through, hey, like you said, an hour, if not less. But yeah, dude, this is awesome. I'm loving this. It got me all, as you can tell, I'm all over the place, but it's got me all hyped up. This is great.
Nice. Yeah, the last okay, I got your contact. The
Yeah.
last thing I had given this piece of kind of like app advice to who's the CEO? Rich?
Rich, yeah.
Yeah. So like when you Google, let's see if they did it. 01915 Beverly. Um yeah, so if I type in like Beverly or 01915 for the zip code, it doesn't show me all of the AEDs that are in the town. So I know there's more than 45 AEDs in the town of Beverly. Um, so like being able to do that, where when you search, it actually outlines that zip code. That's really useful information because then you can actually tell how many AEDs are in each zip code. Whereas with this, the way it's set up right now is you kind of need to scroll around and you need to do a decent bit of legwork to actually figure out, oh, there's not 45, there's actually 80. So that's actually pretty important information. So if you wanted to pass that along, like maybe just however they're developed, I don't know anything about apps, the developers, like if they were able to refine that search criteria, and I know like at certain points, if you zoom out enough, it stops showing AEDs completely.
Right,
So
and that's the problem too. Like if you zoom in or out enough, it shows a certain number of AEDs that
yeah,
might be more or less actually not in that area. Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
yeah. So that's really helpful, obviously to you guys for analytics, but for students as well. So that I think that's my last point.
Yeah, no, I mean, all great, all well received for sure. I don't, Greg has the most access to Rich.
Yeah.
I got to meet him once at
Yes.
the conference in Phoenix that we went to, but it was super brief, and he's a pretty, he's stoic guy, so he doesn't say too much. He's a man of few words. But I know you had some luck, you and Greg, with implementing the volunteer hour aspect of the app as well, right?
Yeah,
That was
that whole like however many you tagged little page on your profile, that was my idea. So that was really really cool, and the students thought so as well. They're like, oh, this is sweet. Like now, like I only submitted. I had two kids who were like, oh, I only submitted X number of Google Forms for community service, but I actually tagged X many more that I didn't even remember. So that was really cool.
Yeah, and I think that was something that I got from the students that I worked with, like kind of separately throughout. That like, oh, I want the volunteer hours, and
Yeah.
I'm like, you just tell me, and we'll do some sort of one-to-one, whatever it was. We'll equate it to something so you can have it
Yeah.
for your resume. But now it's something that's built in, which is so huge.
Yep.
But yeah, that's it, Nick. I appreciate this big time.
100%, buddy.
I hope you finish up the week and get some damn sleep, man.
I
Seriously.
know. Yeah. Going home tonight, knocking out. So.
Hell yeah. Well, I'll be in touch. I got your number now, so we can make this easier. And if I get in touch with the guy from St. John's and he's willing to talk, I'll let you know. We can hop on that call and get this thing moving.
Yeah, text, call, email, anytime, dude. I'm always really responsive. So whatever you need.
Sweet. Appreciate it. All right. Take care, man. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. See ya.